to welcome everyone to tonight's meeting, and I would remind you all that tonight's meeting is being webcast. So this meeting and the one afterwards are being webcast. And do we have any apologies for absence?
We've received apologies for absence from Councillor Cox and Councillor Redfern.
Thank you. So we now move to the one substantive item in this meeting, and that is the appointment of honorary aldermen. And I will call on the leader to formally to move the recommendation.
Thank you, Chair. So Peter, Mark and Suzanne have all served on this council for more than 12 years, in some cases an eye-watering amount more than 12 years. And over those years, they've all made significant contributions in a variety of different roles on behalf of their residents. Theirs is an impressive record of service to this council, to the district and to all of its communities. And I'm delighted to propose them as honorary aldermen for the district of East Hertfordshire. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And I believe Councillor Goldspink will be seconding.
Yes, indeed, Chairman. I'm very happy to second this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. So before I ask other members to comment, may we formally take a vote on that recommendation? So all those in favour? Okay, I'm pleased to say that looks unanimous, but are there any against or abstentions? No, good. So I'm very pleased with that. And are there any members who would like to comment? Councillor Deering.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you, Ben, for your words and for the proposal. I think in the Chamber, as it is these days, it probably primarily does fall to me to say a few words about the three nominees. On this side of the Chamber, we do fully recognise that some of you will not know them at all or don't know them hugely well. But as Ben says, they have all given huge service to this council and therefore the people of East Hertfordshire. I've asked all of them two questions. One question was, can they remember when they first became a councillor? And actually, it's all a bit blurry. None of them can precisely remember when they first became a councillor. And then, of course, I've asked them the even more difficult question, which is, well, why did they become a councillor in the first place? And for all of us who've been through elections, we all know that that's quite a common question that people ask us. It's not quite as difficult as the follow-up question, which is when you're running for re-election and people say to you, well, why do you want to be a councillor again? And that is a tricky question to answer. And of course, Mark and Suzanne and Peter have all been councillors again and again and again. So first and foremost, at the risk of sounding just a shade pompous, on behalf of the people of East Hertfordshire, and through you, Chair, we'd like to extend a huge thank you to each of them for all the work and contribution they've made to East Hertfordshire over many years. For those of you in the Chamber that may not know, Mark was the chairman of the Audit and Governance Committee for longer than any intelligent person should probably do that job, and he did it beautifully. I'm about to embarrass Mark. Mark is the nicest person, and he ran Audit and Governance with in almost to perfection. Suzanne, as I think most people know, has a long and very noble history here in relation to the DMC planning. She was your portfolio holder in your portfolio, Victoria, some years before you. And there is nothing left to say about Peter Ruffles. What is it that Peter has not done? And one of the experiences that Peter has, which is quite interesting, given where we are today, is that he has been through the political cycle more than once. And there have been times here in Hertford when he has been a solitary Conservative, surrounded by all sorts of other people, and he's gone through the ups and downs of the political world. So we owe all of them an enormous debt of gratitude. If I may just say on behalf of our group, particularly from our group, we're very, very grateful for all the work they've done. And when I say that, I ask them why they became councillors, and they pretend not to remember. The truth of it is that they became councillors, or tried to become councillors, for a very simple reason, which is they just wanted to help people and give something back. I know Mark in particular just thought he might be able slightly to help the shaping of East Hertfordshire. Suzanne's done all the work she's done in relation to DMC. I think Peter originally became involved back when there was a suggestion that Gascoigne Way might be built. So it's quite a long time ago, which obviously at the time was quite a controversial thing. So we thank them all for that. And if I may, just one last comment, Chair. We're also quite mindful of Michael McMullen, who was a very, very long-standing councillor also. Again, maybe not known to some of you in this room, but an absolutely delightful human being. And it's just very sad that he's unable to receive this acknowledgement. So thank you to the Chamber for nominating the 3 individuals. Thank you to everybody for the unanimous vote of support. Thank you to Mark, Peter and Suzanne, and thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. If I can call Councillor Goldspink.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Yes, I would like to add my words to those of Councillor Deering. I do think this evening, we are celebrating and honouring 3 excellent councillors who worked hard and loyally for this council and for all the residents of East Herts, and we are very grateful to them. A few words about them personally. Councillor Peter Ruffles has given a lifetime of service to this council, and he has been a passionate champion for Hertford for all of that time. He has always demonstrated his knowledge of the town and his understanding of the residents. It was always a great pleasure to work with him and to hear him speak. If anyone deserves the title of Honorary Alderman, it is Councillor Peter Ruffles. Councillor Mark Pope. He has served, yes, for 12 long years. And I think he has served on one of the most difficult posts in this council. He had the heavy responsibility of being chairman of the audit committee. And to my mind, this is one of the most difficult of posts. Yet Mark tackled it with calmness, with great competence, and with gentle modesty. This council is very much indebted to him, and I believe that he also truly deserves his new title. Councillor Suzanne Rutland-Barsby. Councillor Suzanne has also dedicated many, many years to serving this council and the residents of East Herts. She and I worked together on the old planning committee many years ago, and of course she was chairman for many years. And it was always a great pleasure. I enjoyed her sense of humour and her jokes. But she was also industrious and conscientious in her approach to meetings, and also very fair-minded. It was a great pleasure to work with her. During her stint as chairman of the council, she was always very courteous and fair-minded again. She treated everyone with politeness and respect, even awkward members of the opposition. When I returned to the council in 2019, it was Councillor Suzanne who was in charge of member development. She fulfilled this role brilliantly, and I know that I and my little group of 6 were all extremely grateful for her help and support. Thank you, Suzanne, over there. I believe that you fully deserve the title of Honorary Alderman. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. If I can call on Councillor Clements.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Councillor Redfern was going to speak on behalf of our group this evening, but unfortunately she's been taken ill, so you'll have to make do with me instead, I'm afraid. I'm one of the people who unfortunately doesn't know Mark and Suzanne so well, but anyone who is willing to put themselves forward for such a long amount of time and to serve so long, I'm sure deserves our thanks and gratitude for that. So thank you. I do know Peter, like everyone in Hertford. I think for many residents, I think Peter sort of typified what local government was. I have spoken to more than one person who assures me you were the MP. And even one person who in no uncertain terms told me that you were in fact a Labour councillor. So, you know, that was I'll leave that one with you. But yeah, I think but Councillor Deering was talking about that wanting to help people. And again, I've spoken to many people who you've helped over the years, and who I'm sure would want me to pass on their thanks and gratitude for that. So, well done, all of you, and thank you.
Okay. Councillor Eric Butler.
Thank you, Chairman. I myself is one of the longest serving members now, but I just wanted to add that when I first joined the council, which was in 2010, both Peter and Suzanne were really helpful to me. And I think that's something we need to recognise, because it's around proving that service is all important for all of us as a council, and they certainly demonstrated that. And Councillor Goldsmith referenced the member development, and I think that's part of the legacy that both Suzanne and Peter leave, in that the way we're operating now in our member training was really started off by them. And I think that makes us all better because we're better informed. So again, I'm really grateful for the work they've put in and what they've left us. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Councillor Carton, Rachel.
Thank you. Yes. So I'm like Councillor Clements. I'm new to the council this year, but obviously, so I'm not as familiar with the great contribution of Mark and with Suzanne. But obviously, we all know we're all without even being on the council. Everybody knows about the work of Councillor Ruffles. Peter Ruffles. Slip of the tongue there. But I would like to say a few words about Suzanne. She's obviously given very many years of dedicated service to the district council. I think Sin and Councillor Deering has talked about all her work on the DMC. One thing I would like to point out is that since the district council was set up in the 1970s, there's only been a very select few women appointed as chairman of the council, and I think it is testament to Suzanne's character and ability that that she was appointed as one of those few women. I know how much she's liked and respected in our community, and I'm very pleased to support her nomination as honorary alderman.
Thank you. I believe Councillor Smith, did you want to say a few words?
Sorry, I will. I'll jump in. I just wanted to say something about Councillor Ruffles. There's no shortage of things to say about Peter, but something that has always struck me about him when I was a resident and I first needed some support from a local councillor, I emailed Peter, and a few days later he turned up on my doorstep and was there for a conversation face to face, which I was so impressed by at the time. And that's always been something that I've tried to take with me as I've moved into council life, is trying to bring that personal touch to people and trying to be there for residents, which is something that Peter was always very good at. He also was the very first person the morning after I was elected to the council for the first time. Peter appeared on my Ring doorbell very early in the morning, and he was the first person delivering a card. And it was quite something to me that the first sort of word of congratulations came from somebody not on the same party as me, but from somebody who could be seen as a political opponent. But Peter has never ever been like that. Peter has always been incredibly supportive and collaborative, and it's been a real pleasure, even though we've been on different sides of the table. Sometimes he's been an absolute pleasure to work with, and incredibly collaborative and helpful. So I'd like to thank him for that. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you. Councillor Josie Dumont.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, again, when I was first elected in 2019 and we had the sort of members open welcome day, Pete was the first person to make a beeline to me, sat next to me, welcomed me, made me feel very welcome, started to explain the ropes. And obviously we sat on different sides, so I will always be grateful for that. But I just wanted to mention a little thing my father-in-law said when I told him I was going to stand for election. If you want to be in the council, he said, oh, I've always voted for Peter Ruffles. I said, what? Tell me why. He went, because he's old school.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, members. I want, before I call on our three new honorary aldermen, if they wish to say a few words, I think it's very appropriate for us on the 50th anniversary of this council to be awarding this honour to councillors who have spent so many years serving the people of this district and serving this council. So I want to add my thanks to them. And if I can call them, do Peter or Mark or Suzanne wish to say a few words? Yes, please.
Well, thank you, everybody. This is a real honour. I'd just like to say that, and I'll do my utmost to carry out the role of alderman to the best of my ability. I'd just like to say that it makes me really proud to be nominated for this alongside two such distinguished former Hertford councillors. And I'll do my very best in the role. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman, very much for, and everybody who said nice things. Appreciated, and it's an honour to be joining the ranks of a number of people that a lot of you know, and also many of you won't know. So I wonder if I could just very quickly, Chairman, pay tribute, I think, to three groups of people. Although Michael McMullen comes in the singular and he's been referred to earlier, and I'm sure that you would have wanted to bestow the honour of a freeman, not a freeman, that's something else, the honour of an honorary alderman to Michael, because Michael was the person who certainly qualified in length of service, but he also designed the licensing committee practices and arrangements when licensing came over from the magistracy to local government. And our particular licensing committee had a wonderful record of no appeals against their decisions for a long, long time, when appeals might well have been likely because it was such a new scheme, tried and tested. That was Michael's biggest legacy, but he was a wonderful ward member and knew it well. I want to pay tribute to you all for taking on the mantle of developing the council, particularly to Ben, because of the slight surprise that came his way and the enormity of the work. But could I just particularly say in tribute to those people who were made honorary aldermen some years ago and who were faced with those who were made aldermen earliest, very similar challenges to you, because the shock of the local government reorganisation in 1974 and 1976 was the time that the council really got underway, was enormous locally. And your council was really the leftover bit from the rest of the county when it was divided up much more tidily. And East Herts, with 1/3 of the territory of the county, was given really the hardest single job across the county to reorganise. And there was indignation from the urban districts in Bishop Stortford and Ware and Sawbridgeworth, and the rural districts. But the indignation was greatest here in Hertford, where Hertford had been a borough council with all that that meant, including responsibility for highways. And can you imagine that translated? But Hertford lost an enormous amount of its dignity, I suppose. And it was the work of those people who, many of them became honorary aldermen in those early years, which shaped this very difficult council. And the tribute to you is you've got to go on doing it, because it remains quite difficult with rural versus urban and east versus west, if we go into combat terms, which we shouldn't do. But thank you very, very much. The early years that I came here were very, very different. And I can see Diane nodding, and Stanbull would be able to do so as well. There were ashtrays. The rooms, smoke-filled rooms, were the order of the day. And gradually things took a shape. The planning committee looked at 15 to 17 applications each meeting. And because this
building that you're now in wasn't here, all of the meetings and the offices were scattered across the district with housing in Ware, Buntingford with works and community services in Sawbridgeworth, and all sorts of scatterings and before this building was created. And in Bishop Stortford, the planning committee had members of the public literally breathing right behind them and trying to pass notes of advice to members. You've come a long way since then, and the tribute is to all those who've done that work and brought East Hart to the position it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, members. Thank you very much indeed for this wonderful honour and for your very, very kind words, and it is very much appreciated. I note in the policy that the honorary aldermen are expected to help the chairman and his charities and also support the council at civic occasions when necessary. So I'm very happy to say I am delighted to accept that duty, and thank you all very much again.
So it now just remains for me to pass over the certificates that I have for the 3 new honorary aldermen. It does say here in my notes that there is a civic badge of office. Unfortunately, I believe that has not yet arrived, but you will be provided with them as soon as they do. So if I may pass these over to you, and I think that sorry, and then we'll get a picture. But I think we'll do that outside the meeting. So if I call this meeting to a close. And in 5 minutes or so, we will start all over again. But thank you, members.